First, be it resolved that the mayor and council for the city of Lincoln Park grant a 60-day extension of the demolition order for the property of 1574 Fort Street to expire September 17, 2023. Be it further resolved that the property owner shall submit either a cash or security bond to the building department in the amount of $28,000 by July 27th, 2023, or the resolution shall be rendered void, and the demolition order shall be allowed to proceed.
I'll move.
We have a mover and a supporter. Councilwoman Ross puts this forward, and I'm supporting it.
Through the chair, Your Honor,
Yes.
if I could, Mr. Munoz is here tonight. He owns the property. I understand that he had a surety bond on this property before, and he has another one, and I believe it's in the amount of $19,000. Would we allow Mr. Munoz to come up and answer questions for us?
Yes, come on up and if you want to answer some questions. And I'm going to ask about the bond too with John. Is that true, that there is a bond?
I don't know if it's still active at this point at all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Munoz.
All right. Did you have, I'm going to ask first question first. Do you have any problems putting up the bond?
No,
Okay.
no, I had purchased a bond before and expire,
Yes.
so I just got one renewal for the amount that you mentioned for $19,000. But if amounts need to go higher, I believe all I can do is reach out to my agent to get a higher bond, if that's one of the requirements.
Yeah, that will definitely be a requirement. Okay. Anybody has any other questions?
Well, I would like to leave it at the 19,000 because I don't really think we're going to need it. Mr. Munoz is prepared to rehab the building.
That is correct. We have submitted our plan for review. As soon as those plans are approved, then we can move to get the building done within the next 30 days. As you can see on the folder, all the taxes been paid. We have insurance. There is a copy of the blueprints there. Everything pretty much. It's all the requirements, and like I said, we're only waiting for the blueprints to be approved. That's the first thing that we need to do in order to pull the permits and get the building done. I had purchased the building about 8 months ago. I'm not sure what the previous owner done. There's no control. I'm not selling the building. I have already 2 tenants who are interested on renting the place from me. And all I'm asking is more time so I can get the building done.
Through the chair, Your Honor,
Yes.
the motion was read in the amount of 28,000. I don't know if Councilwoman Ross, you're trying to make an amendment to
Yes.
make it 19,000?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
If you want to say it and see if we get support.
I
Does she
would.
have
That'd
to
be
have
in
the
order.
original?
Is there support for that?
I'll
Somebody did-
support it.
Okay. Going home, my pencil broke.
This is, the expiration date on this bond is 11/11/2024.
Vote on the amendment.
Yep. Guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Soar,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes.
Okay, so that shall be amended. Are you guys ready to vote on the other one, or do you need more discussion?
Questions?
Oh, go ahead.
I just want to, we've been back and forth on this property so many times, and I just want to know that you understand that if this doesn't happen within 60 days, that it's going to revert back to the demolition status.
Yeah, I do understand.
Okay, because we've just gone back for years now, back and forth on this, and we would really like to see that become a viable business in the city. So we're kind of depending on that happening this time. So that's all I have. Thank
Of
you.
course, and as I mentioned, I didn't have control of what the previous owner did. But since I bought it, yeah, we couldn't get it done before. But now we're ready to go. The only thing that's holding up not finishing the building is that the blueprints are not approved. As soon as we get that approved, it should be no more than probably 30 days to get the building done.
Just so you know, this is unusual circumstances, and we're trying to work with you because of this, the binding circumstances here. We're just trying to impress upon you, this is not a normal thing. 60 days is it.
I really appreciate it, sir.
Thank you. I'm just trying to impress upon you.
Chair?
So,
Does John have any idea when he'll be looking at the blueprints?
Once you approve that it should not be demoed, and we are going to approve that they have 60 days to renovate the building.
Thank you.
We do not have a legal position to plan review or take this money if you weren't going to accept the offer of reconstruction and re-renovation.
Okay, thank you.
Once you've done it, we
through the chair. So, Mr. Myers, Mr. Munoz just said that he submitted the plans and that they were not approved. So is the only holdup the fact that we need to vote on this tonight?
I haven't seen the final disapproval, but the only thing that won't let me grant him an approval was waiting for this decision from the council tonight.
John,
Can you
could
tell-
come up to the microphone, please, and repeat that so people at home understand what's going on?
Yes, our issue is legal, and when the paperwork was granted, we could receive it, but we could not act upon it until council had a right to suggest or accept or deny the Dangerous Building Board's recommendation to demolish. That's what you're doing tonight by a recommendation or a motion of two of you, so it's been on the council to do so. So we would not have reviewed or finalized or given my signature to the plans until you, as a council and mayor, would have voted yes to save the building for renovation. So once that's done, I will look in the next 2 to 3 days and make sure that if there's any violations that are still outstanding on the drawings, that we'll get to the owner so he can get back to the architect and get those corrected so we can approve.
Can you guarantee that he'll get them this week?
I can't.
You
I
will-
can work hard at it, but I won't guarantee.
Well, I mean, can you get back to him this week?
Oh, I can easily get back to him. I can
Okay,
get back
that's
to him
what I-
tomorrow, but I can't guarantee they'll be approved by the
No, I'm
end
not
of the week.
saying approved, I'm just saying look at
Oh, yes.
them and make sure that he
Absolutely.
is on track.
Yep, absolutely.
And if
Okay.
this needs to go to planning, will that be possible in the scope of 60 days?
This will not need to go to planning.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Munoz, I want to thank you very much for bringing this to our attention.
No, thank you so much for the opportunity. Like I said, I've been working with different series through the year. This is kind of my first project in the city of Lincoln Park. I'm the president-elect for the Detroit Board of Realtors, so we work with a lot of people who wants to become homeowners. We want to promote homeownership, and I would love to become part and get closer to the city of Lincoln Park. So this is kind of a great opportunity for me to learn the process and also, to work with you.
Well, this is a very unusual process, only because of the demolition, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, hearing no other questions, we will call for a vote.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Mayor Higgins?
Yes.
Councilperson Bear?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Soar?
Yes.
And Tobin.
Yes.
Yeah, you can handle this one.
Thank you, Mayor.
I don't know if it was-
Tonight we are looking to award the tree service bid for a new contractor. We've been with Limb Walkers for the last 2 years and elected to go out to bid instead of extend the contract as it was an option. Couple things of note on this. We took a look at our tree program with our DPS leadership, and we decided we wanted to make some changes. This year, instead of having a constantly running list of trees that we're planning to remove, we're introducing some predictability. We put out all, I believe, 116 trees that we had on the list as part of the bid to get the bulk quotes for those trees to be removed. So we can expect all 116 trees that were on the list at that time will be removed during this first contract year. We're also moving into a more predictable, what we're calling a block pruning program, where instead of just trimming individual trees here and there, we're going to look at the areas that have the most significant need based on reports, and we're going to assign those to the tree service contractor to be done in a methodical way. So it should improve the services, the quality, and again, the predictability of the program. We did receive 2 bids. One was from a company called CHOP, and the other was Limb Walkers. CHOP was the lower bidder on most of the services except for what we're calling contingent removals. So when we get a phone call about a tree that is potentially a hazard and should be removed, but we didn't have it on the list to begin with. And then the final stump grinding by size, but the overall difference made it worthwhile. And the references for CHOP came back to extremely satisfactory. And I know we've had some issues between the city and Limb Walkers in the last 2 years, so moving in a different direction makes a lot of sense. So tonight we're looking for you guys to approve and award the bid to CHOP. And there is a suggested resolution.
Be it resolved that the mayor and council award the contract for 2 years for tree removal and block pruning to CHOP.
I'll move.
I'll support.
I have a question.
I got a couple questions. In the past couple years, we've had a problem with the removal of the stumps. You mentioned it already in the contract, but will that problem be alleviated?
That's the hope, absolutely. It's going to require that we keep a good eye on the contractor and we do good follow-up.
All right, and I
Yeah,
think
through the
Lillian
chair.
was first.
Where are they based out of?
Oh, shoot, I should have known that question was coming up. They have, I think they're closer than Limb Walkers was, but they're not next door yet. But they have been providing services in E-Course, and I think they are looking to have an area to stage somewhere in the area. So,
Okay.
So, the contract, will it be similar to Limb Walkers as far as the travel time that we had that issue with before?
are you talking about the emergency removals and
Yeah.
emergency? So we will not have that issue anymore. That was something we wanted to take care of and ensure that we did have a contracted rate for emergencies. And theirs was significantly less than Limb Walkers.
And the other thing, the contingent for the stump removal and grinding, there's a big difference between them and Limb Walker. And I realize that their pruning and their emergency trims, their contingent, all that is lower. But have you looked at it to see how much of a difference it is between Limb Walkers, the high cost of CHOP and their removal?
Yeah, well, so hopefully, right, and of course, hopefully, the amount of contingent trees are going to be reduced by going through this process. Oftentimes what we get is a tree that people call and say, it needs to come down. We go out, yes, it needs to come down. We put it on the list, right? Now we can go to the homeowner and say, yes, we have it on the list. It does need to come down. It's not an immediate hazard. So we're going to put it and mark it for next year's tree removal program. A little bit more predictability. That's a lot of residents, they just want to know when something's going to be done. Oftentimes it feels like they want it to happen right away, but that's just because maybe they've been asking for a while. So hopefully with this increased predictability, the amount of those trees that have been called on for years significantly decreases.
Okay, because that's a pretty
Right.
big difference.
Lillian?
Thank you. I think, are they not in a better position to start right now? Because I thought Limb Walkers took care of most of the trees
Yeah.
on the list, right?
Yep, but again, the 116, those were the trees on the removal list when we put it out to bid.
Okay.
At that point, Limb Walkers had been done doing their tree removals for that time. So those 116 trees are still there.
Okay, okay.
So, but I will say, when Limb Walkers first came in, we had a list of probably 300 trees. It was
I know it was
it
long.
was outrageous, and they were able to cut our list down over the first year significantly. So I'm very confident that this new company is going to be able to take care of all these trees on the removal list for this calendar year, and then prepare for next year.
Okay.
Through the chair, Your Honor.
Yes.
Two quick questions. There is a big difference in the grinding of the stump. At one time, didn't the city have a stump grinder at one time? Because I know price-wise, you can probably get them anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000. Is ours still workable, John? Do you know? It is. Could at times we grind a stump instead of paying this amount? I mean,
It would depend on available manpower.
They people trained, just trying to.
Right.
I'm in favor of this company coming in, but in regards to the grind of the stump, leaves a lot to be desired. So I'm ready to vote.
Okay. Hearing nothing else, I will call for the vote.
Councilpersons Bear,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
Soar,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes. I'm gonna say this because I know there's gonna be some people watching at home. I referred to them tonight to watch this tonight, that your tree can be cut down a lot faster now. So hopefully this will be taken care of. They'll know what I'm talking about. All right. Next up, CBDG. I'm going to turn that over to the city manager to talk about it.
Yes, thank you. So 3 years ago, we approved a 3-year contract with Hennessy Engineers to handle the CDBG administrative services. This was dealing with the annual action plan, the 5-year plan, all of that. The contract also allows for us to do 2 individual 1-year extensions. Now that contract's expiring, we both, we've been using Hennessy forever for this type of stuff, and they've expressed the desire to exercise the first-year option, and the administration would like to do that as well, and it's an important time to do so. So in order to do this, we just need to do a resolution to authorize the extension, and then we can sign a letter to deal with that. So there is a resolution attached, as well as the original contract was in your packet.
Whereas the City of Lincoln Park and Hennessy Engineering Incorporated desire to exercise the first 1-year option on a 3-year contract for the CDBG Administrative Services, be it resolved that the mayor and city council approve the 1-year extension with the Hennessy Engineers Incorporated, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the documents to require they execute the extension.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions? I'm going to ask real quick, since we do not have a director at this point, or will not shortly, what will the plan be? Will it affect this?
No, that won't be affected by this.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Then I will call for a vote.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
Soar,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes. And once again, I'm calling on the city manager.
Yes, thank you. It's kind of a busy evening for me. So a little background. The city's charter was written in 1925, written and adopted almost 100 years ago now. By and large, there have been some minor adjustments, but very few amendments to the document as a whole, even though the city has grown and changed dramatically throughout those times. Articles reference some outdated practices that are no longer consistent with state law. We need to do a systematic review of the charter and make recommendations for updates. A couple of meetings ago, Mayor Higgins announced an intention to form such a charter review committee. And I've put together some bylaws for the committee and also a resolution to establish the committee. Committee, according to the bylaws, will be made up of the mayor, the city clerk, another member of the council, and then 4 members of the residency. Because ultimately, any kind of charter changes will have to go back to the public, and you need to make sure you have public input on this. The purpose is really to look through, review the charter, make recommendations for priorities. All recommendations will then require council approval before they can be placed on a ballot for the public to vote on. If the resolution is approved tonight, we will update the city's applications for boards and committees, which will give Ashley an absolute heart attack because it won't line up quite right, and it's going to be fun. She likes the boxes to be perfect. And then we'll work with it, and we're going to promote the need for new members to this committee. So that's what we're looking to do here.
Be resolved that the mayor and city council for the city of Lincoln Park hereby establish the Lincoln Park Charter Review Committee. Be it further resolved that the bylaws and for the committee submitted to the city council are hereby approved.
I'll move.
Support.
Excuse me.
And call for the vote.
Councilpersons Tobin,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
Zor,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes.
Thank you.
And one more for the city manager.
Yes, thank you. And the cover letter didn't end up in there. So this city has some quirks with some of the way we handle some personnel stuff. Specifically, there are appointed department heads that are appointed directly by the mayor and council as opposed to being hired directly by a city manager. Sometimes that creates interesting issues that can prolong either hiring decisions or other issues. So to try and help mitigate some of that and to try and help move things along a little smoother, a little quicker, I'm recommending the formation of a personnel advisory committee that is made up of the mayor and a rotating group of 2 members of council. That group of 2 members of council will rotate every 6 months, and I have it set up to go in the order of finish in the last election. So those who finished first and second will go first and second right after the election, second and third, third and fourth, and rotate every 6 months. The idea here is for me to utilize a soundboard for feedback, to get ideas, to hopefully get a good feel for what the council is thinking on certain issues, and to involve you guys more in the process in a way that can be streamlined and we can have some difficult conversations without having to have them on a public floor like this. So I've also, for that, created some bylaws. And in the packet, there was a typo because I was using the same format as the Charter Review Committee, but I submitted to you guys all a corrected version that has the right name of the committee. So we'd be looking for a resolution to establish that as well.
We resolve the mayor and council of the city of Lincoln Park hereby establish a personnel advisory committee. Be it further resolved that the bylaws for the committee submitted to the city council are approved.
I'll move.
I'll support with discussion.
Okay, we'll go for you first.
I'm kind of confused as why this is necessary. And when you say to assist the city manager on personal recommendations for those employees, this would be at the time of hire and a time of negotiation. And we are already doing that.
This is setting up a more formal process and a more that we're not doing it in the way you're thinking, because this at least establishes a committee, establishes bylaws for what I'm looking for. It's not just at hire,
No, I said at hire and at negotiations.
or if we're looking to maybe expand something. There's a myriad of issues that are personnel related that come to this body that need to be vetted through a little bit before they come to you. And that's what this would be establishing, a process by which to do that.
I just think it's better if the whole council is being vetted at the same time instead of 2 members here and 2 members 6 months down the road. I don't agree with this, but that's okay. Go ahead.
But we can give it a try, right? If it works, we use it, and if it doesn't, we can dissolve it.
Yep, the bylaws allow for dissolution.
Okay.
Anything? No. Okay, call for the vote.
Go ahead, member from the audience.
No. If you're a former councilman would like to speak up?
Chris Starzinski, resident. I guess I'm interested as to why the HR supervisor is not part of this committee, and any vetting process and all that, doesn't that go through an HR supervisor? So if you can disabuse me of that, thank you.
The HR manager also has an individual contract with the council that would be at times discussed with that committee. So yes, of course, the HR manager would be involved in a lot of the discussion, but not all of it.
Through the chair, obviously this is voluntary. I mean, if someone chooses not to be on this committee, you can just bypass them until you get your 2, correct?
I would prefer if it wasn't. I would prefer if we could have everybody serve their term. That way, the influence is spread across the entire council throughout the term, and it's the most fair way to do it. And of course, everything that's just it's a sounding board for me before I come to the entire council.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, we will call for the vote.
Councilpersons Ross,
Oh, one second, wait, I'm sorry, we got another,
Sue Sacheta, Downriver Sunday Times. Is this a committee or is this a meeting subject to the Open Meetings Act?
It's a committee. It would not be subject. It's an advisory committee to me. It's not a quorum.
there would only be 3 people in the meeting, in the room of a mayor and council, so you can have up to 3 at any time for a committee. If you have 4, then you have to be in the open committee.
Also, no votes will be taken, no recommendations made.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we'll call for the vote.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Tobin,
No.
Bear,
Yes.
Salcido,
No,
Zor,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes. And the next one we have from the city manager.
Oh, boy. So this is to reestablish the Director of Community and Planning and Development position. About a little over a year and a half ago, I presented the council with a plan to reorganize the departments of Community Planning and Development and Parks and Recreation. This was at the time we were having soon-to-be retirement of the director of both of those departments. And it looked like it would be a good idea at the time to separate the two, create a director of Parks and Recreation who is a director of Parks and Recreation, and then create a sub-department head level to handle the day-to-day operations of the CDBG program. Over the last year, the CDBG program has grown significantly, and it's exciting to see the direction we can go with it. And it's opened our eyes to a whole wide variety of possibilities within the program. However, we need to be looking at creating a director to steer that ship. This would be a position that would be appointed by the council, reporting directly for daily management activities to me, just like the other department heads. And I would be looking to really widely advertise the position, to really get a good broad pool of candidates. I would, of course, we'd do our normal posting procedure, but I'd also be looking at the MML for their job posting board. The Michigan Association of Planners also has a pretty robust and active job posting board as well. Looking at posting the position within the salary range of $67,500 to $75,000 should be an appropriate level to attract qualified candidates. So we've got a resolution for your approval or denial.
I'll move.
Support.
I have to read the resolution first.
Oh,
Be it resolved that the mayor and city council of the city of Lincoln Park reestablish the position of Director of Community Planning and Development. Be it further resolved that the city manager is directed to post the position with starting salary range of $67,500 to $75,000.
I'll move.
I'll support.
Through the chair.
And question through the chair for
So, my question is, the CBDG director, what other jobs will be included in this program that weren't included, say, in the program when Doreen was doing it? What are you adding to this position?
There's a new, with us moving code enforcement in-house, the development of a more robust ability for blight remediation within the program. There's also a myriad of different neighborhood grants, development grants that we can be going after, that if we have the right expertise there, we can do so.
So whoever is hired for this position would have to be able to be a grant writer also.
There'd be an element to that, just like we're looking for with most of our department
And
heads.
that'll be in the job description?
Yes.
Okay, is there a job description available yet?
Not quite yet, and that is because the director position has not had an actual job description, I think, ever. There was an ordinance that was adopted quite some time ago that combined the two positions, and that is from where all the job duties came from, way back.
I would like to
Yep.
see the job description. Obviously, we need to advertise for it, but I would like to know what you're actually advertising to.
Yep.
For, it just makes it real hard to make a decision when we don't know what you're actually going to entail in the job position. Besides what we're commonly used to doing and knowing that you're going to add other duties that we don't
Right.
know what they are. That's it.
I'd like to point out that the CBDG director gets paid out of CBDG funds. And I also like to know if she's going to be working, or he or she is working directly under the city manager in that position. Does that affect that?
No,
Okay.
no.
Any other questions? Then I will call for the vote.
Councilpersons Bear,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Zor,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes. I'm sorry, James, but this one is not on you.
Get to take a break.
You can take a break. John, you're up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We've met with KD Cement and also Great Lakes Contracting, and KD Cement gave us quotations to do work at the fire station, and I'm going to call it the Cleophas side driveway. If you recall, they had their other driveway removed and replaced, but that was on Fort Park. Now, what's inclusive in here, and it is a capital improvement budget in the present budget we are in to have the driveway, the interior trench drains, and also sidewalk removed and replaced. We had budgeted the city has budgeted $145,000. KD Cement came in at a price of $105,348, which is approximately $40,000 less than budgeted. And I'm requesting authorization to extend that to KD Cement. I've checked on their credentials as far as doing, let's call it bigger work. And they got great reviews from Sterling Heights and Auburn Hills and Southfield. So my recommendation for the mayor and council is, well, actually, I'll read the resolution. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city council approve giving John Kazoo, DPS director, authorization to execute a change order for $105,348 to KD Cement for the fire department added concrete work, and funding shall come out of the capital improvement account 410-001-983000.
And I'll move on that.
I'll support.
Any questions? Then we will call for the vote.
Mayor Higgins?
Yes.
Councilpersons Tobin?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Zor.
Yes.
One added item, KD Cement will be coming in approximately the third week of August to do the sidewalk program, and simultaneously, they would like to do the, let's call it fire department work also.
John,
Thank you.
John, while you're up there, can we have an update on the amount of men we've got over the DPS right now and where we're at? Got several calls today about needing men over there, and earlier tonight I spoke a little bit about DPS is hiring. Can you give us a little line to get us some people to get hired?
Could it wait until my presentation in a short time tonight?
We'll do that then.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Next backup for the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. So this topic is the GFL fuel surcharge. Earlier this year, I was contacted by GFL representatives letting me know that they would like to invoke the fuel surcharge clause that is in the contract but has yet to be utilized at this point. This clause basically says that if the fuel prices escalate above 20 cents per gallon based on the set rate at the time of the contract, they could increase their unit prices by 7 cents per unit. It works both ways, right? If the fuel prices drop significantly by 20 cents per gallon, they would decrease their prices by 7 cents per unit. Based on their information, if they had been doing this all along, the city would have already spent more than $59,000 in this fuel escalation charge. They are asking that they begin implementing this moving forward. They have said that they're not looking to go backwards at all, but just moving forward, and for the time when we were talking about this. So I don't know that there's a whole lot we can do, but I did want this to be a council action. I wanted this to be discussed publicly, and questions to be asked here at this forum. We do have representatives from GFL in the audience who could answer questions as well. So there is a resolution, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And
Be it resolved that the mayor and city council approve the GFL's request to invoke the fuel surcharge clause of the contract.
I'll move.
Support.
Okay.
To the chair.
To the chair.
We're going to let CFL talk first, and then we'll,
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Sam Caramagno, GFL.
Evening.
Good evening.
good evening.
If, this is something we found in our contract review process at GFL that we have not been utilizing as we reviewed all of our municipal contracts. And we have no desire to go back to 2018 or 19 or 20, anything like that. But we do feel that it needs to be exercised as of this spring and then going forward. It'll be a monthly adjustment on the bill, but it does go both ways. As James said, it will go both ways. If fuel dips below the base price, then we'll give you back 7 cents for every 20 cents that the fuel moves.
Through the chair. So you're talking about taking this from April, May, and June? And for the first 3 months, we're going back to April? And then starting again July, August, September. Is this going to be a monthly expense, or is it going to become every 3 months?
It's going to be reviewed every 3 months,
Okay.
but it'll be added each month.
Okay. And have we paid April, May, and June?
We have not yet.
No.
Not with an escalation.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
To the chair. How much longer do we have with your contract?
You've got about another year left on this contract, if I it's off the top of my head, about another year.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair, Your Honor, just a couple questions. The timing of this seems a little weird because gas prices were escalating 2 years ago. So why are you coming now when gas prices are going down?
Well, shame on us. We should have been all over this a year and a half ago.
Okay,
And,
with this increase, can we do something in regards to the need of people getting trash bins delivered to their house if there's a problem with theirs? I know this has nothing to do with that, but since you're here, my biggest issue with GFL is people have broken wheels, broken lids, and it takes a long time to get them. So hopefully with this extra money that you're asking, we can improve the customer service in that regard. And that's my last question, Your Honor.
we can. We've got carts ordered. The manufacturer has some delays, as most people do in the service industry these days. There's delays, and Jesse is your general manager. I talked with him earlier today, and he's got carts to be delivered. I think July 27th was what the email I saw. So as soon as they get here, they're going to hit the street, and we're going to clean up any deliveries and repairs that we need to take care of to get this thing straight and then on track moving forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Else no?
Through the chair, since Salcido brought it up, if I could ask.
Yeah.
Do you refurbish the cans, or do they strictly get replaced?
We can refurbish them. Wheels can be replaced. Lids can be replaced. But if there's a hole from a rodent digging through or something, or if they're completely smashed, they're going to be exchanged for brand new.
Thank you.
Since it's been brought up, and I don't want to blindside you, but since you have your manager with you too, I'm not gonna lie to you. We get a lot of complaints about CBD, about you guys, about you. You've missed a lot of pickups, and it's coming to my office daily. And I just want, can I get a reassurance? Can I find out if this is going to be getting better in the near future?
It is going to get better. We've got a dedicated route manager on the street every day in the city of Lincoln Park. To no surprise, I heard what you said earlier, Mayor, about your staffing situation, looking for people. We don't want to steal your thunder and try to take people. I know the DPW and John are looking for people too. We're still facing a shortage. We're able to hire. We've got people coming in more now than they have in the last couple of years. We're looking to fill many positions ourselves, both drivers and helpers on the back of the truck. We've raised that wage considerably in the last couple of years to try and attract people. It's still a bit of a challenge, but we're not stopping. We brought in a whole recruiting team at our City of Southfield regional office for recruiting for our 7 locations in and around Metro Detroit. So some of the troubles we're having are staffing issues, but we're trying hard to stabilize that. We're paying upwards of $25 an hour to start driving a garbage truck, and $18.50 for the person on the back of the truck. So we're reaching out and doing what we think it takes to get staffed properly. We don't want to have problems in this municipality or any other. That's why we're trying so hard to get
Okay,
staffed.
and I appreciate the staff issues, and appreciate you coming here and telling us that to the citizens. But I would appreciate it if you're going to have an issue that on a day, if you could let us know ahead of time, or it would be much better for us for when a citizen calls up and we can explain what the situation is.
We can proactively do that. You want us to reach out through Ashley in your office, James?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, we can do that. And then I also heard that you have you're going to have an internal code enforcement person, maybe we can partner up with that person too for some other things we see out there occasionally, and they can reach out to us as well, and maybe that relationship will also help things.
That sounds like a good idea. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And call for the vote?
Councilpersons Bear,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Zoar,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes. Okay, and since James has been so well tonight, we'll just put him right on a city manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I think you guys have heard quite enough from me tonight, but I'll give you a couple quick updates. A couple times it's been brought up tonight about issues with staffing at the DPS. And you guys are all aware that I am pursuing a pretty robust effort at looking at retention within the department and trying to figure out what we can do better, how we can improve. This effort's going well. I'm about halfway done with interviews. Have another 4 employees scheduled this week. I'm hoping to wrap up interviews probably sometime next week and then be able to start putting together a report that I can get to you guys. It's been very insightful. They've been very helpful, and I look forward to hearing some more from them. One of the issues we had over the last couple weeks was with our emergency standby operation. We ran into a bit where the employees were a little bit unhappy with doing the rotation, and they were looking for some kind of incentive. We were able to get together with the union, come to a good compromise, try and hopefully eradicate the issue. So I'm really pleased that we worked so well together and got it done. A couple other highlights going on right now. Our kids club over at Kennedy is going very well. It's very robust. I was over there this morning and heard lots of joyful sounds coming from there. So things are going well. The program has been doing great the last couple of years since we were able to bring it back. Last thing I want to update you on is the pension grant. This, as you recall, the state of Michigan put aside $750 million for funding underfunded pension systems in the state. I was on a call last week with the team that's putting out the program. They actually only had about $600 million requested in the program. So on this first round, it does not look like there are going to be any issues with proration. It looks like applicants, as long as they were qualified and used qualified systems, should get everything that they applied for. I'm sure there might be some tweaking based on where pensions were at the time of the application, right? Because their goal is to get everybody to 60% funded. So we're looking forward to getting that letter sometime this week, I think. They're supposed to be sending out the notifications beginning today. So it's really exciting. With that, and that's all I really have for you guys. The retention interviews are taking up a ton of time, and it's time well worth. So I'm happy.
Ask for more since they have an exit.
I've got a feeling there's going to be a second round, and I don't know how that's going to work. There's been an effort across the state to try and get some kind of recognition for those pension systems that have done a lot of difficult things to get themselves above 60%. So I could see some kind of prorated effort there to recognize those, and it's fair. I get it.
Through the chair? James, can you give us a couple examples of the standby duties? Like what would the guys go out if they're on standby?
So the standby phone is there for water and sewer emergencies. Typically after hours, somebody sees what could be a water main break, what could be, maybe basement backups, whatever it may be. They're told to call the non-emergency police line, and the guy at the desk will then call the standby phone, who will typically go out and take a look, see what's going on, get in touch with the foreman to start calling people in if it is an issue. The issue is it can be stressful. It can be taxing. Getting woken up a few times a night sometimes not at all, but there are times where they're woken up every couple hours, every hour.
And they are required to go out, right? If they get the call, they're required
Yes.
to go out.
Yep, they're supposed to go look. And the issue is, we only had about 5 guys step up to do it. So it's a weekly rotation. You just got done doing it. You only have 4 weeks until it's your next one. It was, really exhausting on the guys. The issue was we had some goofy language in there that if you looked at it one way, you could say everybody's supposed to be on it and they can set the rotation, or you could look at it and say it's supposed to be a voluntary rotation. In order to fix this, we had to come to some way to get everybody in the water and sewer department on it, because that way it can spread out over the course of a couple months and you're not on it every 4 weeks, every 5 weeks. We did have to increase the amount of hours that are paid for it, but whatever we got to do sometimes, right? Now we've got coverage, and it was a really good compromise.
To the chair, just to piggyback on Lillian's comment, I can certainly attest to how exhausting it was becoming to the very few people that were still on the rotation, and this was a very necessary and a needed change, and I appreciate the work that that got put into this from all parties. And I was wondering, do you have any more updates on the animal shelter?
I do not. I know they are blazing through.
That'd be part of.
Yep. And I intentionally left off construction updates and everything tonight because of who's coming up. I didn't want to, didn't want to be the opening band that covers the song of the headliner. So
Okay, thank you.
You guys have anything?
I have something. Since we've gotten the resolution about the trailer parks and the rentals there and that, do you know if there's been any movement, or have we moved in to do any inspections? And is the park going to work with us on this?
I'm looking to John Myers, who will come up and address that.
Walk up here.
Mm-hmm.
Make 'em work.
We're presently involved in training our staff of what they need to look at as compliance with the state and our own rental program. In the meantime, we have now evicted 15 properties, and they are now, 15 of them are emptied. We also now have, I believe there are 8 more that go before the judge for victim notices. And everything from this day forward, the ownership will be required to put a rental certificate and registration in the hands of the City of Lincoln Park for every property that is occupied. And they will then have to meet both exterior and interior safety regulations, life, health, and safety, that is equivalent to everything that we do in a stick-built house in compliance to a trailer. So as that gets moving forward, as I said, we already have 15 empty. I think we're going to request in the next 3 to 4 days that 4 of them are locked up so that we have no more loitering and hanging out and using the properties. But at this point, as far as I can tell, the police chief and I have met with both the owners, the management company, and the tenants that are managing it on the site. And everything right now looks like they're willing to comply and meet our demands.
Through the chair. John, before you leave, the evictions are for life, health, and safety violations?
That's correct.
Thank you.
So all the homes that are now empty have major structural problems.
Thank you.
I just have one more thing. I'd like to make a resolution that we schedule a session to the city manager's contract, employment contract, that we have a closed session to discuss that.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Everybody needs coffee right now.
When do you want to do this?
When is a good time? What,
Do we have anything for the next council meeting?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we just set it tonight for the August 5th, the blight remediation program.
August
6:30. At 6:30. How long do you need for this? Do you want to do one at 6 that night?
yeah, we can do
or-
it at 6 probably. On the 7th? Or the 24th, whatever you guys want.
What's the earliest, the better. Get it done.
Gives you a half an hour on that.
Do you think we need more than a half hour? It's your meeting. Do you want to go on off Monday?
Yeah, we could do it in it, well, I don't know what the date timeline is.
14th, it's the next Monday. No meeting,
If I could,
or meeting.
we've got August the 8th at 6:30.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, August 8th, not 7th.
Is that an error?
August 8th is a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's the 7th,
Oh. August
the
8th.
7th is the Monday.
Do you want to do the 8th?
Also,
Do we need a correction?
It's a Scrivener's error, I'll fix it.
Okay.
is there something else that would be there? There would be a commission meeting that night. So if we do it, we'd have to do it on the 15th. No, I'm sorry, the 14th. Would be an off Monday.
Why don't we just do it on the 21st then? Before the council meeting?
Okay?
Okay. Hour?
Thank you.
Make it 6:30, so it's
6:30?
so an hour, at least an hour.
Okay.
Okay, call for a vote?
Councilpersons Tobin,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Soar,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes. Anything else for the city manager? Then we will bring in our department head, the DPS. Come on down, John, you're the next contestant.
It's the John and John Show.
Again, good evening, Mayor and Council. This report is basically for 3 months, April through the end of June. And I placed a copy of that in front of each one of your chairs before the meeting. Street sweeping, we have completed, and we sweep every month, 690 miles of street sweeping in those 3 months. Coal patching, we've completed 348 work orders, and we purchased a little over 152 tons at a cost of almost $19,000. Spray patching, last council meeting, this body authorized $100,000 worth of spray patching. The contracts have been executed. They've been forwarded back to the spray patching contractor, and we've given them a list of the streets. We're going to wait until they can get back with us when they fit that stuff into their contract. But that's for $100,000. It's not for $5,000 as indicated in my crib note sheet handed out. We've repaired 14 street signs, replaced 28 street signs. Water main breaks. So far in these 3 months, we have had 30 plus today. We've got 67 year-to-date. Water services, we've repaired 7. Hydrants, we flushed 6. Valve repaired in 3 months, we've done 3. Sewers, backed up basements, we've had 20 call-outs, 0 to my knowledge as our responsibility. We've jetted over 39 different sewers. We've repaired 4 pumps. We've cleaned out 8 catch basins in those 3 months. Rain events, we've had 9 separate rain events with street flooding, and we've had 0 bypassing from our retention basin, which I think is pretty darn good. Motor pool, we've got a contracted mechanical service, and for these 3 months, they've done 35 different issues on vehicles at a cost of a little over $36,000. Staffing, which was an earlier question. Budgeted, we have 23 people, minus 2 mechanics and 1, I want to call it citizen request person that assists with meters during the day, because we don't have the ability to put him out in what I want to say the workforce. So that leaves us with 20. We've got 2 non-work related leave of absence, which gives us 18. We're missing 6 bodies that we have not yet found candidates to hire to come in. So that means we're down to 12 people. Now, what happened just over this past weekend? If you recall, we got a pretty good rain event on Thursday, a pretty good rain event on Friday. We ended up calling in guys because we had 6 trees come down. They got them up and out of the way of the roadway or the sidewalk. They handled what they could, and we had to go out and finish doing the pickup and other reported branches down today. So we didn't have the staffing to go out and start street sweeping for this week. We hope to do that tomorrow. As far as water main breaks, we had a water main break Saturday, 1 Sunday. We actually had 2 today, and then coming in here at 6:47, we have a third one. I know I've got 2 more scheduled for tomorrow. Those are leakers at the present time. I'm not sure exactly who's going to come in, because some of these guys worked all last week, Saturday, Sunday, plus more water main breaks today. They've got to be exhausted. Again, I'll just reiterate, we've got 6 full-time positions waiting to be hired in, and I don't think that we're getting candidates coming in. Our significant challenges are responding to after-hour emergencies, and the after-hour call-out person, that has been resolved. And it is a daunting job, especially during a rain event. You may be being called out or called in after hours when you just got to bed and you just started to fall asleep, and all of a sudden, maybe there's a flooded street. Maybe there's water main break, backed up basements. Or one of the pump stations, we're getting an alarm that we have to go check on. And that may happen to the wee hours of the morning. And then sometimes that on-call person has to be part of the water main repair crew. So to kind of put this in perspective, you might have worked all day yesterday. You may be up all night tonight if we have a bad weather event, and then you may end up having to work tomorrow too. It's a very long time. And right now, we're not supposed to be working people greater than 16 hours. So it's very tough. Does anybody have any questions for me?
And John, so the public hears this, our water main breaks. We do have older water system, and that's part of the problem, no doubt. But we are getting water pressure problems, and can you explain that, please?
Well, what we've been experiencing in GLEWA, Great Lakes Water Authority, probably other than this past weekend, they've been trying to reduce what I want to call the peaks in the water pressure spikes that we're receiving. The unfortunate part, as the mayor has already stated, our water system is quite old. It's original, and it's cast iron, and the strata, the material that is backfilled around our water main is clay, which is not really always the best. Because if you keep in mind that cast iron pipe, as it ages, it starts to fatigue. And when you have clay that freezes and you have the freeze-thaw cycles, it moves pipe. And this pipe doesn't have any forgiveness. It'll break. Same thing in the summer, and we've all seen it adjacent to our porches. You walk out, you look at your front yard, and you see gaps along your porch or alongside your house because the clay has dried out. When it dries out, it shrinks. It also moves water main brittle pipe, and it breaks. Then when you get the water pressure spikes, that causes breaks also. But right now, as I stated earlier, we're at 67 year to date so far. Last year we had 250.
At this time, John?
Yes.
Really? Oh, sorry, through the chair.
Go ahead. Good.
I'm not sure if you can answer this or James, but where are we with getting the pressure relief valves?
That's in process. Hennessy has been working on that, and in talking to, I want to say, the person that was leading the charge on that, he's at the point that he wants to proceed with it. He's got the added information that he needed, and it took a while for him to get that. And he's been in contact with Great Lakes Water Authority for the authorization to be able to do it. So I would venture to say probably in the next month, maybe month and a half, it may be coming back to this body for concurrence to move forward. But I'm sure that in John Hennessy's presentation here shortly, he'll probably touch on that also.
Okay. All right.
Through the chair, Your Honor.
Yes.
Two quick questions, John. In regards to that rain event last Thursday, I was on like Gregory, Liberty, and New York Street on this side of Fort Street, and all three were flooded. And I know, if you want to explain to the residents, what happens on a big rain event? Is our infrastructure cannot handle it? Were the sewers clogged up? Were the pumps not working? What answer do you have for the residents?
Well, there's multiple answers. Number one, when you talk about pumps, that's usually related to sanitary system or sanitary sewers. Back in the Gregory area, and some of those streets in that area, I don't know if you recall, but Mr. Hennessy will be touching on that shortly. What they have presently is what they call filter fabric, so that you don't get any soil erosion into the storm system. And they're required by law to put that over top of the catch basins. Well, the filter fabric it's just that. It's a fabric that tries to keep dirt particles out of the storm system. So it could not drain off fast enough for the rain that we received. Now, going back to last Thursday, we had 0.71 inches of rain. Then Friday night, we had 0.89 inches of rain. And when we came in yesterday and also today, we had 14 feet in our retention basin. It's draining off right now, but we did not have to bypass.
Thank you. Last question. I know staffing is an issue, but have you ever considered putting on a second shift, like consisting of 3 people, and if there's no water calls, they can be tuning up machines or gassing up the trucks or doing something?
We've got
That makes
plenty of items for them to do without doing stuff like that. I'd love to have a second shift, but I can't find enough personnel to fill the first shift.
Thank you.
To the chair. Go ahead, Mr. Thor. Go.
When you spoke about the tree service during a storm event, now that we have a contract with a contingency, isn't that part of the contingency for the public?
Well, most likely it'll be part of, like, if it's an after-hours event, it'll be an emergency. And that's why we put in the emergency rate this time for the contract.
So it'll be dealt with.
It can be dealt with.
Thank you.
Correct.
To the chair, can you give an update on the pump stations that we're rebuilding? Has anything started?
John will touch on that.
And you keep talking about the 12 full-time employees. Are there any part-time employees?
We have one part-time, well, actually 2 part-time employees right now.
Okay. And that's usually what you have?
We've got room enough for 4.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, the one can only use the one, and one is a senior can only do so much.
Well,
if I'm not incorrect?
He's an older, no, I don't want to say that. His usage is limited, And of course, because of their part-time, their hours are limited. And the other one, he's only here, now that he's out of school for the summer, he's here more, but he's been here during the school year. And he, in the past, because of his curriculum, he's only been able to work about 6 hours on Friday. So is he part-time? Yes. Did he give us a full complement of 30 hours? No. We knew that he was in college, and we knew that his usage would be limited, but at the time, we didn't have any other choices. And we're still in that position right now. Any other questions?
So again, if you're sitting at home and you really want a good job working for the city, we're looking for you. Thank you.
Next.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have in front of you, I dropped off our overview for the same quarter that John mentioned, and I'll go through some of these. There's about 5 pages here. I don't want to take up everyone's time here. And all of those, I'll just hit the highlights. The very first one is the ACO agreement. I'm going to actually come back to that because we've got some information that we received from the state on Friday about that. And so I'm going to proceed with some of the other things. We've got the water system and loss detection. We've kind of developed a plan on how to pursue that, and that's dependent upon staffing as well and developing a team to do that, to implement that comprehensive program. We've got the North Shore sanitary sewer replacement. We've got GV Cement replacing the north part of North Shore right now. We're waiting the concrete to achieve its design strength. Ryapel and Mill Street is kind of an unusual situation that I've candidly never seen, where 2 utilities are right on top of each other. And you don't do that for the reason that if the lower one fails, the upper one's going to fail right with it. We've had to do some extensive repairs through there. We've done smoke testing to make sure that we don't have any illegal connections from homes into the storm system through there. And we're going to come through and line these 2 sewers, which will give them an estimated life of 50 years through there, so we won't have to come back through there. But it candidly should have never been that way to begin with. We're working with John's group on the DWAM grant. We have a grant for $562,000 to investigate lead service leads within the community through there. That's being implemented. We had lead and copper service lead sampling. We have completed all of the samplings as required by Eagle for our submittal this year. Bridge inspections, that was on the agenda this evening. We'll inspect all 9 bridges through there and update all the load ratings through there. That will be filed with Enbridge with the state of Michigan. Keeps us in compliance with our Act 51 money. A water reliability study. We have to do a water reliability study every 5 years to demonstrate that we've got adequate fire flow within the community. Look at the pressures throughout that systems. We're in the process of completing that. That's due at the end of the year for us. We've got capital improvement program, the water capital improvement program. As John mentioned, we've been dealing with GLEWA quite a bit on the PRVs to demonstrate the actual need for the PRVs and exactly what their pressure spikes are through there. We've got GLEWA finally to see our position through there, and we should be out to bid within 30 days. We'll be in front of the council requesting authorization to bid through there, to put those through there. Sanitary sewer studies, that's part of the ACO. We've begun to do that and to look for excess I&I. And I will tell you, as John mentioned, we've received 2 significant rain events back to back with no bypassing. And that's really the success of the fruits of labor that's been done for quite a while, because the ACO is really a result of overflow bypasses really since 2011 through there. And to have 2 substantial rain events, and what the public needs to understand is the first event, it saturates the ground so that when the second event comes, it's almost like it's all surface, hard surface area, because it just doesn't have the ability to absorb the water through there. And the fact that we did not have a discharge from our retention basin when in the past we would have, demonstrates that the tightening up that we've done with the sewer system over really the past 5 to 7, 8 years is starting to really pay off. And so I think Eagle's very happy about that, and I think that demonstrates in some of the things that Eagle's done with us as well. We've got sanitary sewer cleaning going on. We've got concrete reconstruction, water main replacement. A retention basin, we've done some repairs with that with the ARPA money through there. CDBG program, that's ongoing, which is Ferris reconstruction from Southfield to south of White Street through there. That's ongoing through there. The animal shelter, that's, we've poured the foundation, we've gotten the masonry walls, and we poured this week the floor, so we're making really good progress with that, so that's great to see. Police station and garage addition, that's the exterior walls and roof in both additions are complete. We're working on the exterior trim through there. London Street paving, that's a London resurfacing from Dix to I-75. That's a local project that was funded by MDOT, 81% from MDOT. It's MDOT, we have to adhere to MDOT plan requirements and pay items through there, but that's gone real well through there, and that's been completed, and MDOT's content with that. The Waterman Replacement Program, there are 4 streets that we have, Gregory, Stewart, Merrill, and Pagel. We're beginning to, Murphy is the contractor, they're beginning to do the pipe bursting on this week through here. Asphalt resurfacing, that's through Hutch Paving. We have 3 streets, Washington, Grant, and Clovis, and they're starting on those, and we're gonna look at our program to see if we've got some more through there. Road reconstruction is Richmond and LeBlanc, and that's proceeding through there. The sectioning program, that's ongoing through there. Utility repairs, that's pretty much ongoing as well. Fire station approach, obviously Great Lakes has completed the east approach, and the council just awarded the north approach, which would be great through there. And then I'm going to jump to the very last one, which is the Clean Water SRF project plan. We were authorized by council to submit that. We prepared a project plan through there. We scored 100 points out of 100 points with Eagle. And we submitted in for approximately $15 million, about $12 million for our 2 pump stations, the Emmons and Lincoln stations that were built, I think, in 38 and 42, which are completely rebuilds through there. The superstructure is remaining because it's in good shape. That means what's below grade is remaining, but above grade and all operations will be completely new. Electronics will be new. We'll be able to see, John's group will be able to see in real time exactly how the stations are reacting, how much flow they're getting, what's their percentage of operations within the pumps. It'll allow us to actually respond to the system much quicker through there. And because we did score 100 points through there, we should be eligible for loan forgiveness on the 15 million, hopefully 30 to 40%. You know, I always get nervous saying numbers, but that's historically what they've done for those types of awards. They have received approximately $1.6 billion in requests, and they have $800 million for funding. So the fact that we have scored 100 points, we will certainly be in the funding range, but we are looking to get the loan forgiveness through there as well. We will find out where we fall within a month or so, and at that point, we'll work with the administration on how to present that, because originally we were looking at potentially using ARPA funds to use those, so it gives us a little bit more options now. It gives the council more options that we'll present to you on how to proceed with that. The very first item that I had that I'd like to round off with is the ACO agreement. The ACO is an administrative court order, and that's a contract with really Eagle and Lincoln Park, and it really mirrors the capital improvement program that we developed with the administration about 3 years ago. We've been working with Eagle for over 2.5 years on the ACO through there to make sure it's in a digestible format. To give the council a kind of a quick overview, it's a 20-year program within 5-year chunks, so it's kind of 4 significant chunks. The very first part is the biggest chunk. Those are the repair and replacement of the 2 pump stations, and then the repairs to the RTB. Years ago, the RTB was in such bad shape, that water was just coming out the side of it, you know. And we've really gone through there. We've repaired the cells through there with John's group through there, and it's been really good. And I think Eagle has seen the work that the community's put forth. We have, the administration, John's group, and the finance group has done a great job in working with Eagle in developing the ACO. But we received an email at 1 o'clock on Friday that the ACO has to be adopted by the city by July 31st. And for us to score points in the clean water to get us the 100 points, I would like to schedule a meeting with the council to review the ACO. We've talked to the council a few times about the ACO. I don't think it's anything, none of it's earth-shattering, so to speak, to what you weren't already aware of, especially since you've seen the 20-year capital improvement program that we've presented. It really mimics that, but it's a substantial document that we'd like to present to council and have reviewed. And I hate to take another evening of everyone's time, but I think it's real important. And we'll make ourselves available as well anytime the council sees fit.
Before July 30th.
But if we could do it next Monday, I think that would be a great thing. That would be the 24th. That would allow us to get it into, and what's driving this is the SRF program is legislated. Eagle has to follow those legislative dates. So Eagle, the Attorney General kind of mentioned this, and it kind of caught her off guard. But we said that we would work to accommodate that as much as possible.
I'll make a motion for a special meeting.
I'll second.
Is it a special meeting or was it a study session?
It has to be a meeting that we can take action on.
Okay. Just so you guys know, there is a compensation commission next Monday at 7 o'clock. So is 6 o'clock good for this one?
Sure, yeah, I mean, we can make, I don't think we'll be more than an hour. We just like to present kind of the highlights for the council and make sure everybody's comfortable with it.
Okay, so the resolution will read, resolved that a special meeting be held on July 24th, 2023, 6:30 PM in the John A. Aloisi Council Chambers, 1355 Southfield Road, to discuss the ACO.
Is it 6 or 6:30?
6.
6,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry, I apologize. 6. Okay.
We'll call for the vote.
Okay, Councilpersons Bear,
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Zor?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins?
Yes.
And that summarizes our report, and we're here to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions for?
Yeah, Mr. Hennessy?
Sure.
Could I ask you, when we do those sewer liners, I know that, is it the life expectancy is 50 years? How long are they warranted for?
The warranty is 2 years, which within our contract, because what we warranty is really workmanship. You know, and so if workmanship is going to fail, it generally definitely fails within 2 years. And the life expectancy is 50 years for these. We've not, in all the lining that we've done, we've never had an issue, and we've done them for well over 12, 15 years, and we've not had one issue. All the pipes that we've looked at, all are holding up really well, and the friction coefficient looks real good, and it's really worked out real well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Call for citizens' communication. Anybody would like to speak to this body?
Hi, Leslie Lynch Wilson. Hey, I just want to remind everybody that National Farmers Market Week is August 6th through 12th of this year. This year is the 24th year. It is an annual celebration that highlights the vital role that farmers markets play in our nation's food system. So since August 6th falls on a Sunday at the Lincoln Park Farmers Market, we will be celebrating it by doing a food safety demo on the importance of cutting boards and preventing food contamination. Due to a grant from the Michigan Farmers Market Association, we will also be distributing a cutting board, a scrub brush, as well as a lettuce knife to anybody at the market. So we're going to be doing this at 1:30, and this is the cutting board everybody will be getting, and this is the scrub brush. So basically, during the demo, we're going to be explaining how a cutting board can help you in preventing food contamination, and the importance of what is the proper way to clean a cutting board, as well as what cutting boards are better, such as bamboo is better in preventing food contamination than the plastic, and why you should never use a cutting board like this. You need to pitch that, because that one, you will get a lot of food contamination. And then, because we still had money to spend, the Michigan Farmers Market Association said we had to spend the whole $600. Also, a lettuce knife, and the purpose of a plastic lettuce knife is it helps when you're cutting the lettuce, it is less apt to turn brown as opposed to, your metal knives. So we're going to be doing it at 1:30 on August 6th, so please come on out. We've got 100 of these. I got all these boxes in my kitchen, so we need to get rid of them. So please come. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Richard Kudrak. I want to talk about trees. You talk about cutting down 116 trees, but you did not there was no resolution to grind the stumps. If you're going to cut down a tree, somebody's got to grind the stumps. That's got to be mandatory. One of the things you didn't talk about was trimming trees. You drive down any street in a city and you see these trees that were, these massive 60-foot maples that were built, they were planted 60 years ago. Huge trees, overhang all the property on both sides, the street and everything. Some of these trees maybe don't have to be torn down, but certainly should be trimmed a little bit. One of the things that I mentioned was, I sent you an email, I said, can residents nominate a tree for possible service? And of course, I got no response, and you didn't discuss that. But I'm sure that if you got 116 trees scheduled for removal, some of these have been on somebody's list for years. I think one of the things you should do is post those 616 trees on the city's website. So if you nominated a tree several years ago, you might want to know, this is the year it's going to be cut down. Or you might know that this is not the year it's going to be cut down. Because I said, I nominated a tree several times, I never got a response. And one of the things I thought was, if a resident nominates a tree for possible service, somebody should say, it doesn't qualify, yes, it'll be cut down, yes, it'll be trimmed, or, we're not going to touch your tree. I got a question for John Meyer, if I might. If there's about 15 trailers that were condemned and are now empty, what is the process to remove the trailers from the trailer park?
The owners of the property have the first right of correction. They have the right to offer a renovation of the property and put it back to use, or if they cannot afford to do so, then we will give the court a recommendation because it'll go through them for us to bring it to dangerous building and drop them or remove them. But the first goal will be they have the right to consider that if the property that is there now is not occupied and they want to reoccupy it, they will have to get a CFC, certificate of compliance with the rental program, and before they can put anybody in it. But then it would be up to a health code of health, life, safety, and community wellness based on the city's Lincoln Park's rental program to be allowed to continue to be operated.
The net result is the city
would be responsible for removing the trailer if it came to that.
That's correct. We would be.
Thank you.
And it was pointed out earlier in the meeting, and I will just point this out because it was earlier in the meeting. Normally, we won't answer a question, but the stumping and taking out the stumps is in the new contract.
Chris Darzinski, resident, business owner, and dues paying member of Lincoln Park Preservation Alliance. It's good to see that 1574 is going to be rehabbed, and we're going to get a tenant in there. That block is the most economically challenged block in all of our business districts. Former Mayor Tom Carnes, one of the things I really appreciated about him was his very orthodox adherence to Robert's Rules of Order. This brings me no pleasure to bring this up, but I'm really going to have to ask everybody to review that when it comes to how meetings are conducted, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I've sent you all emails many times on certain processes and procedures that I believe need to be in place, and I'll continue to wait for responses on those, and we'll continue to communicate on that. I've been communicating with State Senator Erica Geese and Representative, our state rep, Tullio Liberati, regarding poverty in Wayne County, and of course the 19.5% poverty rate in Lincoln Park, and communicating with them on some very good recommendations from the Wayne County Clerks organization for recommendations on towards the elections, most of it having to do with organizational logistics and what I consider to be a fabulous list that our city clerk was involved in masterminding and putting together. So I would encourage all residents that if you want to see improvements in elections at the local level, to contact our state rep and our state senator and lend your support to that. And as far as getting communications back on the larger issue of poverty, when I get some communications back from our state rep and state senator, I will inform the mayor and council. The first committee that was set up for reviewing and revamping the city charter, bravo, good idea. The second committee, I'm going to offer you the courtesy that I'll send you some communications on that later on this week when I get it more formally put together in my head. Wow, there's so many other things. Lincoln Park Farmers Market needs volunteers. Every club and organization in Lincoln Park needs volunteers. If there's something you want to do for the city and you don't see a club or organization or volunteer group addressing it, then put your own group or organization together. There are 40,000 people in Lincoln Park, and if you want to make it a vibrant community, well, it takes 40,000 people. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, Mayor, Councilmen, and women. My name is Helen Grandy. I happen to be one of the residents who lives on London. John knows me very well. I have been back and forth with John the way that they paved London. It's asphalt. Now, I told John, it's my opinion, like he said, that I didn't think London had to be paved in asphalt or even paved yet. The street behind me, Richmond, if anybody has driven down it, is horrible. That should have been done. So my street is paved with asphalt. And the way they did it, I live on the corner of London and Hazel. I have a beautiful home. I love my home. But if you look outside, I took pictures. I don't want to bore everybody with them. The street is paved from the bridge all the way down, but when you get to my corner, there's two big slabs that they ran over it 100 times and have black asphalt. Then, I don't think you remember, Mr. Salcedo, when you were a councilman, when you were running, you came by my house and you saw the sewer was sinking. You had that fixed, which I appreciate. So wherever the sewers were, both sewers, there's slabs of cement, which doesn't look good. I know it's just me. I've been there for 52 years. I love my home, but and then the other thing is I have a curb. When they had to do and forgive me if I don't say it, when they had to do the handicap ramp, they made it very steep, and I come home from work, and I've got a curb on my property, dividing the sidewalk and my property. And 3 slabs that I replaced last year and I paid for, I went to John. We didn't have the money from the city to do it, so I went to John. They took them out, and John said he would pay me. Now I have a copy of it for you. But my point is okay, it may not bother anybody else, but it bothers me because I take pride. And I've been there for 50-some years. And now I have asphalt. Okay, asphalt, but in front of my house, a slab, and on the side. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And when I first moved, when my husband and I first moved in here, a lady came to my house from the city, and this same room, I wished I remember who she was, gave us this plaque for a beautiful home. I think I have the nicest home on London. I take pride in it. I just want to let you know. If you all are on London and you come by my house on the corner of London and Hazel, you'll see my beautiful home, and then you'll see the slab and the curb. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to address this body? Not seeing that, we'll move on to the oral reports of the city council. Start with our council president.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Kudrak, I would suggest that you email council on the trees that you were talking about. Mr. Kudrak, email us tomorrow on those trees that you were talking about. I know you've talked about trees in the past. Also, I'll drive by London tomorrow and check that out. I know they were still working on it last week, but I'm sure we'll check it out.
Restoration, they still have everything there, and the grass
That's
and
fine.
everything.
You made good points. And Leslie, I don't need no cutting boards. I'll make my report brief. In the last 2 weeks, I had some time off, so I got to visit some restaurants in Lincoln Park. So I'm just going to rattle them off. So Pancho's, Los Charros on Dixon Goddard, La Finca restaurant, 3 Mexican restaurants, all different styles, but great food. Not to mention the Subway on 4th Street, White Castles, Wendy's for breakfast, McCaffrey's and Chesley's. My wife was out of town for 5 days also, so that's why I ate out a lot.
So there you
But
go.
I encourage you to all eat in Lincoln Park first, okay? That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go with Maureen next.
I don't have much. I just remember the end of the month is Art in the Park. There's some really great bands booked. Come out and have a good time. We spoke earlier. Please keep the family of Bob O'Brien in your thoughts and prayers. He was really, really a wonderful man. Bob was president of the Exchange Club, and I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, he had this vision of putting the bands at Lincoln Park Day in the back of the park in the woods. Well, guess what? That's what we're doing this year. It's all planned out, it's all revamped, it's all changed around, and I'm very sad that Bob did not live to see this because it was always one of his dreams. But I know he'll be watching. I'm very honored to be part of his vision on this. So keep his family in his thoughts and prayers. Lincoln Park Days is August 25th, 26th, and 27th. And we have great bands. We have a whole new setup this year. You guys are really going to like it. We're utilizing the whole park from Abbott to Dix. So please come out and enjoy yourself. Support Lincoln Park. Parks and Rec will be out there on Sunday doing a Kids Day with all kinds of events. We're just really trying to do more things this year and make it more enjoyable and different than it has been in past years. So that's all I have. Everybody stay safe and don't let it get too hot out there.
Lillian?
Thank you. I'm going to start with the Wayne County's household waste collection. The next date is August the 26th. That is from 8 to 1 at the Westland Shopping Center. After that will be October 21st, also from 8 to 1 at the Wayne County Community College in Taylor. But don't forget that we still have orange cards, right? The vouchers. So we do have vouchers here available for you if you want to take your hazardous waste to, I think it's Livonia. I'm almost sure. And then just, I want to add that the Community Improvement Commission is the one hosting the Lincoln Park Garden Tour this Saturday from 9 to 1. And you pick up your maps at the museum, and donations will benefit the museum. Art in the Park is, again, July the 28th and 29th. And the Historical Commission will be sharing a booth with Hands of the City. And they will have art posters, Lincoln Park history coloring books, and museum t-shirts and sweatshirts for sale. Also, again, to benefit the museum. And don't forget, this is what the t-shirt looks like. I had one, and of course, I walked off without it. But that is the design by Mr. Bill Morrison. And the t-shirts are $20, add 5 for extended sizes, and 30 for the sweatshirt, and add 10 for extended sizes. So hopefully, we will see you there. Thank you.
Mr. Bear?
I would just like to add on to the garden walk. I was a volunteer last year at one of the residential gardens. I very much enjoyed being able to meet and greet everyone who participated last year, and I will be doing so again this year. And they are still looking for a volunteer or two. If anyone on council would perhaps like to volunteer at either, it could be one of the community gardens like at Mixture or maybe John Paul II, or it could be a resident. I'm not sure which spots they have to fill, but I do know they are still looking for 2 spots. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Who do they contact?
They can contact our mayor.
And tell them, contact me or Annette, either one. Okay. Mr. Zor?
Thank you.
I want to just say congrats to Sergeant Mueller, who retired last Friday after 26 years of service. He was also active in our community policing as a sergeant. He did great things to create a partnership between the PD and our community, and he should be thanked for that. Thank you, Sergeant Mueller. With that, I have nothing further since our school's out.
School's out.
Again, thank you, Sergeant Mueller, for everything you have done. And I'd also like to remind everybody, Thursday, if it's a Thursday, there's music in the park at the band shell. And this week is a band that I've been waiting for 2 years. Magic Bus will be at the band shell at 7 o'clock. Come out, have a good time. And with that, I resolve that the meeting be adjourned.
So moved.
Support.
Councilperson Salcido?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Zor?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins?
Yes.